Hello everybody, my name's David and I'm here to present a quick introduction to what the accountability node is in BIG. To think about accountability, we need to think about what it is we're accountable for. And this strategy information model gives us an idea of that. So we assume our organization has a purpose, and that purpose is achieved in a vision, and the gap between our current state and our vision is what we have to do to achieve the vision, and that's laid out in a strategy. Our strategy gives us a roadmap, a sequence, decision points, and we'll have a strategic plan which perhaps lays out that strategy in terms of time-phased objectives that we can communicate to our business. We have an operating plan which has some of those objectives cascaded into it that we have actually actioned the business to achieve. And our operating plan might be consisting of a number of business plans from different business units, from different operational areas, which say how they're going to fulfill their part of the bargain. And individual objectives and individual projects or programs or products that fall out of the business plan may have individual business cases to justify them independently. And these items may well be owned by the most senior entity within the business. The CEO might own these things, directors might own these things, and managers might own these things. And each of these people is accountable perhaps for delivering these objectives and their related key results. We need to understand what is going to be accountable as well. Clearly, most of us work in an organisation that has an organisation structure, a hierarchy, and it's made up of permanent entities, teams, departments, etc., and it may well have finite delivery teams, project teams, program teams, product teams. Each of these will have some kind of remit, an expectation made of it. You'll be given a level of authority, and in return for empowerment, it will have accountability. It will be expected to achieve the remit with the empowerment and do that with various constraints. Here is an example organisation structure that we've used in other presentations. It might be familiar to some of you. This shows an organisation that has a board which is broken down into three major areas of operations, product group, and change portfolio. The change portfolio has a director and a strategic delivery group, and within that there are programs and projects that enable that change. The product group has a product portfolio of it, in which it generates its and devises its value, its assets and its products. And it has business as usual delivery teams that keep the lights on, run the business, and basically make the value happen. Each of those colourful points in the previous slide were points of accountability. The business development team, the product portfolio, the expansion program, the change portfolio. These were all points of accountability or accountability nodes. Each of these had a business case which was based on objectives it was expected to achieve. It had authority, which was delegated through a governance process from the organisation. It had an accountable person that probably came from a particular part of the organisation structure. And those are the constructs with which we deliver accountability. But we have to manage, and part of the accountability node oversees management of work and an outcome. And for that we need plans and controls, we need allocated resources and allocated funding, which we may negotiate with different parts of the business, which provide us enablement to carry out our accountability. We have stakeholders who define what we need and how we're going to work and that we have to keep happy. And we work with an assurance that ensures we're doing the right things the right way. This is the definition of accountability node. essentially a business case, authority, accountable person, plan and controls, resources, funds and stakeholders. To be accountable and to have results flow from being accountable, we need information. The accountability node needs to receive information and it will give information. In terms of direction and constraint, it will receive objectives, targets and challenges. Along with that, remit and empowerment with the authority that warrants. It will need information about how it's getting on, its day-to-day control information. Performance, accomplishment, forecasts for the future, and of course be able to manage issues and risks. If it relies on others or has subordinate nodes, subordinate people that deliver to it, there may well be escalations from their areas, and it will have outputs. It will make decisions, it will set actions, it'll manage communications, and it may well escalate out where it can't handle something. So this enables the accountability node to be accountable for achieving the direction within constraints, and it can be responsible for efficiently and effectively applying resources and funding to achieve what's necessary. Within BIG, we have this idea of an accountability map to enable us to see how all of these points of accountability relate to each other. And that's not just going to be through a hierarchy, it's going to be through a map which shows a delegation of authority and information flow. There are a couple of examples here of accountability maps that we can find on the internet that other people have used. The one on the left is quite simple, which outlines a simple relationship between main board and its objectives, how benefits emerge from programs, how projects and programs work together, and work with management teams and resources. A simple set of relationships there with a connecting line and an explanation on the line describing the nature of the relationship. The example we've previously used in previous big presentations is this one, and we start with the example of a program that clearly has accountability for some objectives and some benefits. But we can't run that program in isolation. Our programs are typically driven by projects, so we need to understand what that relationship from project to program is. Perhaps we rely on outputs from a product team for aspects of our program. We interact with particular departments, perhaps, for work and benefit realization. The program may well be part of a change portfolio. It may have outputs that it's accountable for to a director. It has context, it has information flow and relationship. And this example is a simple logical example of how we need to map out these accountabilities, but clearly our organization's picture will be far more complex as we have many projects, many management teams, many departments, many product groups, etc. In summary then, we introduced the strategy information model, the path from purpose through to task, and ultimately the things that we need to be accountable for. We introduced organization structure and the appreciation of having temporary and permanent organization units. We gave an example of an organization structure we've used in previous presentations and showed business as usual, value generation and change aspects to an organization. We went through the accountability node itself and offered a definition which at the heart of it has an owner, authority, and a business case or a business plan that contains its remit and empowerment. We explained that information flow underpins accountability, which itself underpins governance. And we introduced the concept of having an accountability map, which is different to an organization structure in that it shows flows and relationships between things which might not be permanent entities. I hope that's been interesting, and if you'd like to know more, please check out the club website, corep3m.club, or visit our group on LinkedIn. Thank you.